Gentlemen, how many of you have been told at some point throughout your life the ball stops rolling? Probably a lot, if not all of you. But what if I told you that this was actually a complete lie? Total nonsense. And that you're actually still an athlete today, regardless of how far removed from the bus rides, the stat sheets, and the uniforms you might be. What if I told you that reclaiming the discipline, the structure, and the habits that you had during your playing career is the unlock to the freedom and the fun maxing type of life that you've always wanted? And that dialing into that mindset will get you into the peak condition to serve and provide for God and all the people that you love the most. If that sounds like you, I need you to keep watching, because in the first episode of this 6-part mini-series, I'm going to share with you the frameworks that I've been using over the last 18 months to build out what I call the Eternal Athlete System, which is designed to help former athletes like yourself to reclaim their freedom and get into the best spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional shape of their lives. Over these 6 episodes, I'm going to break down the entire system around food, fitness, family, faith, fun maxing, of course, as well as the foundational principles that hold everything together. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, it is imperative that you guys take some notes on this, because there's going to be a quiz. I'm just kidding. There's not going to be a quiz at the end, but you do need to understand how this system works to see how you can apply it to your own unique situation. So my story is that I grew up a chubster. Both of my sisters were cardio-based athletes. One was a swimmer at the Division I collegiate level. The other one was a Division I lacrosse and soccer player. And so a lot of our meals growing up were based around starchy carbohydrates, making sure that they could fuel their training and their performance. And I played baseball. If you know anything about baseball, primarily you're just standing around for most of the game. Same thing with football. Basketball is a little bit different, but that was never my forte. Either way, when you combine high calories and low activity, you're going to be in a caloric surplus. We'll get into that a little bit in the food section, which is going to be the second video in this series. So you're going to want to make sure you stick around for that one. But you get Pudge Rodriguez. If you don't know who Pudge Rodriguez is, look him up. But Pudgy, Pudge Rodriguez, catcher, baseball, you get the reference. Either way, I had some sneaky athleticism about me, though, because I had to keep up with all my peers who had this natural gift, this natural ability to just like take in whatever. They could eat Cinnabons, they could eat donuts, they could eat pizza, cake, ice cream, pasta, and just not gain a single pound. And maybe it was their metabolism, maybe it was just the fact that they were growing. But for me, I was just maybe in more of a caloric surplus. I just developed this athleticism because I had to keep up with my peers as I grew up and as they got better at sports. And I was like, well, I don't want to be the weakest link in the chain here. So I still got to train. I still got to get better at these sports, because I know eventually, once I figure out the physical side, I'm going to be unstoppable. And so even though I had that, I developed a ton of self-confidence issues just around my physique and how I looked. And people called me fat. I got bullied. People made fun of my glasses. Those were transition lenses in that top left picture. I had braces at one point. I had freckles. I had this weird mid-part haircut that you could see here that never really made sense. And so I just felt behind. I felt below. I felt as though I was lesser than. And it really, really was a struggle for a long, long time. And so then 4 years later, I lean out. I use the coping mechanisms that I gained when I was a little bit larger: humor, performativeness, charisma, because everyone knows that the fat guy is going to be the funniest guy in the room, because what else does he have going for him? You know, frankly, that's just the reality, unfortunately. But then after I lean out and I do really well in my sports and in school and high school, and then I go to university and I gain 55 pounds in one semester, just hammering the dining hall, hammering the weights, getting big and strong. And I was like, this is a little aggressive. You can see that bottom left picture. I definitely got onto the chicken wing Keystone Light diet. Heavy in more ways than one, philosophically and metaphorically. And either way, I thrashed my opportunity after becoming an All-American and losing all that weight at playing professionally, because I was just so centered by the self and so immature. And I just placed so much emphasis on what I had to do instead of being a provider and saying, like, how can I help the team? How can I help the people around me and just be the best version of myself for them? And after dealing with that, and after having some mental thought and clarity in moments, I battled depression, anxiety, lack of purpose. So the mental strife really weighed on me from that. And I just got into the worst physical and mental shape of my life. But after that, I became a wash up, and then I became an eternal athlete, because I was like, well, I just need to reclaim that system to where I was training and doing all these things, but in the effort of helping the people around me, not for myself. And so I went from unemployed, overweight, I was sweeping gym floors, and then 2 months after all of that, I started a six-figure coaching business. And to date, I've coached over 2,000 guys, and I got into the best shape of my life. And I'm more mentally clear, physically clear. I'm aligned with God, my purpose, my family. And I just closed baseball because I received a larger calling to help out someone like yourself, a retired athlete who needs to reclaim that structure, because you can treat your life as an athlete with the expectation that you're doing it to provide and to help your team, your family, your coworkers, your friends, your spouses, your church, all of those people. So the big problem is that when you were an athlete, you had that regimented schedule. You felt your best. You were physically resilient. You were happier. You just felt better and everything was aligned. You knew exactly what you were doing on a daily basis when you got up and what your end goal, what you're working towards. But then you get into a corporate job, the schedule gets chaotic. You have people pulling you in different directions. You have so many yeses that you can give, and you decide to just give them all away on the front end. You want to come to this thing, you want to go to this party, you want to date this girl, you want to eat this piece of food. Yeah. I want it all right now. And so all of that takes the mental bandwidth that allows for you to really understand what you actually want out of life. And that's your standards drifting, but then it just crushes your momentum as well. And if you don't change anything, it only gets worse. You've probably seen that trend going around. Break the pattern before it's too late. Break the pattern before it's too late. That's exactly what you're going through here. And that's why I'm here to help you. But the solution for someone like yourself who did align with more of that athlete schedule, you wake up, you lift weights, you get a good breakfast, you go do your work, you go do your skill session, spend time with people you love, call your family, do more creative work, do something more aligned with your purpose. But when you stop treating yourself as a NARP, a non-athletic regular person, you develop the mindset that you're just still an athlete. Corporate execs, Fortune 500 companies, these top dogs, they all are moving towards this way of living to where they're treating their body like an athlete. They're optimizing their physical performance, they're optimizing their mental performance, they're studying, they're developing skills outside of the office, because everyone's an athlete at the end of the day, whether you like it or not. You are still an athlete. You will always be an athlete until the day you are 6 feet under the sod. You're required to show up daily and perform at a high level at home, at your job, for your wife, for your kids, for your spouse, at the gym, at work, in the presentations that you're going to give, or the sales pitches, or whatever it is that you do. You have to be there and you have to be present. You have to show up and help the team out. You also have teammates that rely on you. All those people that I just mentioned. You operate on a schedule that builds in your practice, your training, your game time, and your leisure. All of those things are non-negotiables within the system itself. And so there's 3 very simple steps to the reclamation of your inner athlete or your eternal athlete, right? The first thing is that you need to create a schedule and structure that recreates that athlete environment. Maybe you do like to do physical work in the morning. Maybe you like to do your physical work in the evening and dedicate that first part of the day to your job so you can be fully mentally present. And then that Kickstarter that allows you to really get the most out of your body is in the evening. Maybe you like to have your meals at this time. Maybe you like to spend time with your teammates, right, at this time. Maybe you like to do your skill work in the evening or the morning or the afternoon, whatever the case may be. But once you create that schedule that you align with and you operate best on, it's just about running the numbers, man, running the game, staying in the game. Then from there, it's dialing in the 3 foundational pillars: sleep, nutrition, training. If you don't have those things, you're going to go crazy. Literally, you're literally going to go crazy if you don't sleep, if you don't eat well, you don't train, you don't move your body. You're just going to become a stagnant sloth, cog in the machine, compliant to everyone else around you except for yourself. And you can't show up for yourself. You can't show up for anybody else. That's the bottom line. The third thing is to connect, compete, and apply progressive overload in all the areas of your life. You want to compete. It's the only way to get better. But it's all about who you're competing for. Are you competing for yourself and your own selfish desires? Or are you competing with the expectation that you want to make the team and the people around you better? So that way, when you get to the ultimate championship, when you establish goals for your life, you want to be as prepared as possible in order to get those things. You want to be able to kick the door down with the amount of preparation that you've done and the work that you've put in. So it's undeniable once you get to the end of the race. Now, once this happens, here's the thing. You're going to be in the best shape of your life. You're not going to count a single calorie. You're just going to eat for satiation, nutrition, recovery, and performance. You're not going to be excessively working out because we're going to be working based off intensity rather than volume. or just becoming neurotic about fitness or nutrition and making it your entire personality, because that's not even a well-rounded athlete for that matter. Who likes the athlete who's just like the player, right? Like we want to see like what they're doing on the weekend. What's their philanthropic efforts? What are they doing for their creative outlets? What does their family do? You know, what are their interests outside of the game? Like we want to be a well-rounded human. We want to fun max. We want to pour into our family and the people around us as best as possible. But we can only do that when we have those foundational pillars and we treat ourselves as that athlete first. The second thing is that you're going to develop that freedom within your life to enjoy the experiences and the people that you love. You're not going to be shackled and restricted. You're not going to be brought into this idea that like, no, you have to say no to everything. It's just about protecting your yeses. It's just about understanding what serves you and what serves your end goal and your mission and what doesn't. Because then from there, you can be purpose driven and you can be so clear as far as what you want to do on your day to day, and you adhere to your schedule with some rigidity in there. And then from that point, you just can simply go about your process in whatever way you feel is necessary to your own end goals. Now, the last thing is to garner the energy, right? All of this does not make sense if you don't have the energy behind it and you don't have the ability to pour into others and use that energy for the greater good. Somebody says like, hey, you want to do this thing? Yeah, I want to do it. It's aligned with my mission. It's aligned with my purpose, my direction, my clarity. I'm absolutely in. You don't want to be this sloth, stagnant, oh, but I have so many things I have to do. It's not even a have to do, it's want to do. It's want to do because you know what's on the other side of all that work and all that preparation. It's clarity, it's alignment, structure. It's all these things. It's a feedback loop. Because when you do try and influence others for the greater good, that allows for you to become the best version of yourself too, because then you have a codex of all the things that you can do to help other people, and you're just bringing other people into the kingdom, man. You're bringing other people back to their best versions of themselves too. And so that is the system. That is the formula. That is how we are going to get you into the best physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional shape of your life using the Eternal Athlete System right there. But we're going to outline everything over these next 5 videos after this video. So 6 total, right? Hopefully you took some notes here, but really want to make sure that this makes sense for you and it's something that you will be able to apply. Because if you do apply these principles and these standards, you will undoubtedly meet the goals and the objectives that you've set out for yourself. So now that you got the overlook on the entire series, here's what you can do. The first thing that you can do is you can shoot me a DM on Instagram or X with the number 22. That's just 22. And I'll answer any questions that you have about the Eternal Athlete System. The other thing that you can do is below this video, you can watch the second video in this series, or you can download my diet and training guide, which costs a grand total of $1. Because let's just face it, man. If it was free, you wouldn't use it. We both know that's true. So I got to charge you something. I want to give it away for free, but you can download that. It's the entire system between diet and training that'll get you dialed physically so you can pour into the other areas of the system. And without further ado, let's continue to get after it.